Okay, this is Loop Braider. This video will just be to show how I started the sample braid that I'm going to be that I will be making a quick video to demonstrate pattern switching between various bicolor patterns, as shown in this braid here, my sample braid. I usually start braids with a loop. Actually, there's a few reasons why I do that, but basically it can be very handy. In this braid, I started with the loop having all dark shanks up, all light shanks down. I call that all dark up as a pattern. It's a divided braid. And the starting end of this braid had the same, well, different pattern, but the same type of braidlets, mini braids that I ended with. You can actually begin with the braids. You can start with these all tied together and do divided braiding. However, for a somewhat long braid, you save a little length, and it's actually sort of easier if you start with the loop part. So that's what I'm going to demo now. In either case, it's very helpful to start with your loops all tied separately, not tied together at any one end. And I am now going to, in preparing this for braiding, I'm going to take all, let's see if this shows, this is very hard to do this around, that's why I already tied the knots. So I'm going to arrange all the knots together at one end. There we go. Kind of hold them there. That's going to be the, actually I will be doing it last, but it's the end of the braid that I will start braiding from. I want to leave quite a bit. I'm going to later on braid the ending or the starting braidlets here, and I want to leave enough room for my fingers to go into the loops as well as braid the braidlets or mini braids. So I'm going to start my knot down here, my starting knot. I'll just do a slip knot that I can get out easily later. I'm hoping that, what I'm really hoping is that the rest of the loops down here will all be the same length. That's what I want to have, and I might even not tighten this too much in case I need to pull individually on some and adjust them. But there I have a starting bunch. My old method, or the method that I taught in my, it's not my old method, but it's the fast and easy way to start a braid, is to just tie this, usually use a little lark's head knot. And I might do it this way because to give some length, to bring this closer to the camera. Anyway, to tie on. You don't actually have to, and what I end up liking better, instead of braiding from a string where the braid can twist and twist, especially, it's fine, but it's more stable if you braid from the loop that's developing in your braid, if you're starting with a loop. So I'm going to show you how I do that. I will suspend this for now on the C-clamp that I have over here. I know in the UK they call this a G-clamp. Doesn't matter to me. There it is. And so I'll just hang it there. What we're going to have is, this is, by the way, a 6-loop braid. I have 6 of these. What we're going to do is separate them all out, and then I'm going to put my I'm going to get all the dark shanks up, so I'm going to put my fingers into each loop with the dark shanks up. It doesn't really matter what arrangement they are up here. That this knot is going to come out later. It really doesn't have to be very perfect up at the top. But each loop must have the dark shank upward, both for starting this braid and for the way I want to suspend it on the if I can. I don't know if I can do it very well with the camera set up across the table like this. This is not the way anyone should really braid across a table. It's much better to braid off the near edge of one. So, I now have all the dark shanks up, creating a shed, an opening in each loop. This opening, here I'll show it there, this opening is what the divided loop will form on. You could make a divided loop with any arrangement of the darks and lights. It would make a pattern in the upper and lower part of the loop if I had some lights up and some darks down. You know, if it was a mix, it would create a pattern. I'm going to make a plain start. It doesn't necessarily, you don't have to have that, but you do have to, for the start I'm going to demo, you do have to have all the upper shanks upper and lower shanks lower, and you can then you can braid it like this from the header string, but you can also alternatively braid it suspend the upper and lower shanks over the bar of your C-clamp, or if that seems too unstable, you can put them onto something else, like this is, I call it a shower curtain ring. It's a clip that can close like that and open. I'm going to insert all the loops through here with the upper shanks. Did I miss any? 1, 2, 3. I only have 5. Let's get all of them. There we go. There's all 6. All the upper shanks are over the top of this. I'll call it a bar, the ring, part of the ring, and all the lower ones are on the bottom. This is kind of an experiment. I haven't done this before over the back of the table, but across the top of the table. But I'm going to see if this setup will bring it. Yeah, that'll bring it close enough to the camera. I think that I can show this. So I really don't even need this string. I'm going to take it off now. I don't need this. I prefer, personally, to braid on something with the braid held over something sort of rigid, like the bar of the C-clamp, or this setup here, because it holds. Well, I won't get into it too much. It's especially good for flat braids. Okay, so I'm just going to rig this up so it brings it a little closer to us, closer to the camera. And I'm going to start braiding. This actually might be too close to the camera. Yeah, I won't be able to. Okay, I showed that setup, so this will work. And this ring is a great way to set up your loops if you're afraid of them falling off the edge of your C-clamp. But I think I will. This is long enough that I can put it over the bar of the C-clamp, and it will show. So I'm just going to put those there. They're right over the top. It really doesn't matter. The only restriction is that the C-clamp shouldn't be any thicker than the length you want your loop, but it's much thinner than the length I want my braided loop to be. Okay, so now I'm going to start with a pattern that is called All Dark Up in my tutorial. It's on all the charts for these patterns, and the descriptions are on my website. The YouTube video is just YouTube is what I use to upload my videos. Then they go on my blog, my website, that has the whole tutorial with the charts and everything. So, okay, so I'm going to start braiding my 6-loop braid. Actually, I usually start with 3 loops on each hand. And I'm going to start braiding without turning any loops. This will create a divided braid that will form the loop at the top of my braid. So you can learn how to do this 6-loop braid on my blog if you don't, my website, if you don't already know. but doing this will create a divided braid. I'm making a braided loop that will be at the top of my braid, and I will finish it. I'm starting it now, but I will finish it when the braid is done. When the braid is done and I've braided all the way to the end and I've made my ending braidlets, I will take the whole thing off, turn this around, like that, take the slip knot out. I will have at that point a divided start to my braid that is really easy and handy to put my fingers into and bring them down to the ends of the loops, and I will braid the braidlets at the top that will go in the top of the braid. I will close up that loop by doing one cycle of square braiding, and then I will make the little braidlet so it will match the bottom. Okay, thank you. I'll continue the rest of this video after I finish the braid.